I went in there for 6 months.
Scientology?
Yeah, I was 20. I went in there to check it. I just was checking out every philosophy, every religion constantly in my life. And a great school friend who a best friend, and her parents, like surrogate parents to me, went in and like went right in. And so she kept saying, "Oh, you've got it. Come on, you've got it." She's like, "Come on, check it out." So I went in, and I stayed for 6 months. And the whole time I was questioning the living shit out of everything. And the manager at the Notting Hill Centre in London, that's where he would look at me like this. Every time I'd be like, "So, Tom, can you tell me, I don't quite understand this part." And this part, I'd be just like, and he would just be like, "Oh no, she's questioning." Like he never knew what to say, what to do. He would lean back and just do this. And then, after a while, they showed me like a training video that was so offensive. I couldn't fucking believe that some dick okayed this video. Seriously, it was so belittling. And I just screamed out of the little cinema and I walked into the kitchen and went, "Who okayed that film?" And they were like, looking at me like this. And I walked out the door and never came back. It was disgusting. Wow. Couldn't believe it. Like, "You need this, and if you don't buy this, then and you've heard it from us. And if you turn away, then you are an idiot."
Wow.
That's what they said in the video.
I'm like, spiral in the back of the video.
That's right. Far out. It was wow.
Well, there's 2 documentaries to check out. There's Going Clear, which I don't think, and then there's the Louis Theroux one about Scientology.
Is there? Yes, I'd be interested to see them.
And they're pretty full on.
Hard. Oh yeah, I wish you would tell me just little bits even back then about how dudes would walk in with like high security documents that they'd have like, like a sort of like electronic wristbands connected to them.
House arrest.
Yeah, like full on. Is that what it was?
No. It sounds like
it. God, I was like,
no, it's the documents that tell you when the aliens are coming.
Yeah.
Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
Well, they're already here. I mean, like, I don't
are them, aren't we?
far, but yeah, I mean, like, they're coming and going out of Machu Picchu every day. Like, that part of his story, I'm like, we're all aware of it. They're all here. But yeah, they came out of volcanoes, didn't they? That's his story.
I don't know the whole story.
I think
I haven't read the trilogy of it.
Well, we went past the Scientology building in
San Francisco.
In San Francisco, and we were looking through the window because we were so intrigued by it. Because there's an office L. Ron Hubbard has an office in every building.
Yes, that's
it's like an empty office, right?
For his spirit.
It's interesting. So we're just like looking in, and remember the guy came out.
The guy staunched us.
And he came out, and he was like kind of, trying to start a conversation with us around it. I don't know, see if we were interested. And then he got the vibe that we weren't interested, and then he turned very quickly, and we were.
It was like, "Get out of here."
Get out.
Okay.
Wow.
It's great.
Actually, I remember a friend of mine. He was like doing. I don't know what job he was doing at the time, but he was like posting on his Instagram. He was like cleaning out the Scientology Sydney building, and he had this like portrait of L. Ron Hubbard, and he was like sharing some like behind the scenes of it, and I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool." Anyway, we're a bit of a rolling start to this podcast today. Welcome to another episode of Design on Purpose, the Webpo Studio podcast. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, please do so. It helps us. To all the day ones that are out there that have been hanging on for the last few weeks, waiting for another episode, thank you. And we welcome Chrissie today onto the podcast.
Thank you. I feel very welcomed being there.
Oh, that's good. We've never started a pod like that talking about
that was a rolling start. Maybe that's how it goes from now on. I don't know. But perhaps you can start by introducing yourself and letting us know a little bit about like how you explain who you are and what you do.
All right.
And then we can get into more. We can go from there.
Sure. Oh, you know what I did do?
Oh, we haven't even
because of the rolling start.
Oh, the rolling start. Okay, good. So that didn't happen. There was a rolling start, but we didn't actually press play. Fortunately, we didn't record the whole episode and realise. Good pickup, Riggs. So I'll go again. Welcome to another episode of Design on Purpose, the Wordplay Studio podcast. If you have not liked and subscribed, or subscribed at least if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or YouTube, it helps us see how our podcast is progressing, and you get to stay up to date with all the amazing guests that we get on our show. And we welcome Chrissie today, the amazing guest of today.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the shack.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here.
It is. And could you, it's funny now because I just asked you this question before and then we had to start again, but can you please introduce yourself, Chrissie?
Of course. Chrissie Fire Mane is my name. And I am a mother, primarily, a medicine woman, a freedom pioneer, a visionary, an artist, a poet, dancer, singer, guide. And yeah, I live a life pretty much of service to humans, to families, to people's hearts. And so I do really cool stuff with really cool people. With that as the end result, that's what I'm going for, is that people sort of feel more love in their lives. Yeah, and I do that in lots of different ways. And I'm really keen to keep evolving, in myself and in the ways I do deliver my purpose. So I'm at a sort of a rebirthing moment in my life. You've caught me at a really exciting time.
The lobster shedding of the shell.
It's a
You're
lobster.
in the right
I
place.
am the lobster. I am the lobster, the rock lobster, and loving it. And
Yeah. Maybe some of it. Loving some of it.
the big 52s in the background. Yeah. And that's that, Tom.
So we'll tell us more, because
Yeah, well, because when I caught up with you sometime in the last 6 months or so, and when I because we love purpose here, that's what we're all about, is purpose and transformation. And when I caught up with you, I was very intrigued about your purpose, because I could see there was something really prevalent behind what you were doing. And I think your message is always very clear, and it always came back down to that, freedom, right? It's all about freedom. So what is that about? So when you talk about freedom for humanity, or because that was a purpose, right? It was something along that was.
Yes, I mean that definitely is the biggest picture, is a free humanity, a human race that feel and are free.
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's a big picture, and I think because of my own individual shifting and evolution that I just mentioned, that picture is changing. I think I'm maturing. But yeah, I mean, ideally it'd be beautiful if the human race were free to move around the planet as they'd like to.
Yeah.
To learn in their lives how they'd like to live free of just all the controls that we have coming down on us, in the 3D and in the spiritual. But that definitely is the big picture, to see humanity freed. But I'm finding what inspires me and what feels obviously much closer to home is the freedom of one heart, or just even the betterment of one family.
Yeah.
To see, beloveds in a family unit coming back closer together in love, that is freedom too. Yeah. And that really excites me. And I think that's sort of, for myself personally, a more humble vision. I think that the vision of a free humanity, although I'm definitely heading there, that's something that we're all doing together.
Yeah. I get that. But that's kind of like the ripples on ripples, right?
Correct.
You're kind of taking care of your own corner.
Yes.
And by doing that and shifting your own perception, you're kind of we're getting to that collective shift.
That's right.
And the work, everybody's work that's closest to them is their family, right? And that's who you are, is a direct lineage, direct descendant of your creators who and there's a whole, who even knows how far it goes, it goes forever. So it's so interesting, that's where that's like the work, a lot of it, right, is in that realm to then be able to, change the rest of your life.
Correct. And there's so much work to be done there. And so many of us will bypass it and look at, changing the world when it's like, hold on, the world is in the family. Do you know, like all the dynamics are there, micro, macro, it's all here. So
triggers.
Yeah, triggers, all of it.
Programs.
Oh my God, tapeworms, liver flukes.
It's too soon for that. It's too soon for that. We
I
have
like
to
how you
be
just
super
dropped that
food
in
talk,
there.
is it? Yeah.
Okay, right. Reel it in, Chrissy, reel it in.
We do tend, the conversation always does tend to go to the parasite
Yeah,
cleanse, so we're
straight
trying to
away.
steer clear of it this time.
For at least 15 minutes.
You failed.
What are we at? We're like 2 minutes in now. 5.
Oh yeah. No, it is the great work just to, be true to your family, and I mean it's a huge topic. I mean, like so many people are like, I'm not going anywhere near my family. There's abuse in my family. There's abusive family members. And it doesn't mean that we all have to be living in the same house and really even like each other. You don't even have to talk to family members ever again if it doesn't serve you, if you don't want to. But it's that the love is flowing. Do you know, the unconditional love is flowing back and forward.
Yeah.
Do you know, we don't have to agree with each other. We're, family members often don't, and that's okay. But it's, are you loving them? Are they loving you? That's the sort of, what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
There's so much in that. Like I've just been going through my own shit lately. And it's like,
join the club.
even though not the parasite shit, like just like energetic shit, family stuff, whatever. But it's like, even though you become aware of like your family's programming and the trauma and whatever and the things, your bloody subconscious still plays it out, even though you're aware of it. And it's like, that's like where, like what I'm realizing, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, it just gets deeper and deeper, like the like your understanding of it, and then realizing how it just keeps kind of like coming back in like a new way where you think that you're like, oh, I'm free. then it's like no, you think you're free, but you're actually still playing out these programs subconsciously, and now you got to work that out. And it's like, oh, damn.
Great.
Yeah, that's right. It is. Yeah, that's right. It is in the subconscious that the last bits of the pattern reside. Do you know, like I kind of call it the root, the real root of the upset or the trauma that keeps the pattern in place. It's unbeknownst to you. So we can, a lot of people have a lot of, like you said, understanding. Do you know, although know intellectually, or they may have done a ton of emotional work, and and they're like, okay, yeah, I really know what it is between me and my mum. But it's actually the bits that are hidden to us that we don't know that are even there. It's those that are keeping the pattern in place. And, not many modalities I've seen go that deep. Do you know, they'll sort of hit 40, 50, 60, 70% of depth, and will clean out some of it, but not the root. And so then you have the reoccurrence, which can lead people to hopelessness, because they're like, I'm doing so much work. Why isn't this shifting?
And if you if it's also subconscious for your family as well, it's like it makes it even more elusive, like what's going on, because it's like it's like subconscious even to others. So it's like
yes, that's right. It takes, I think, it takes real strength to break patterns for the whole family.
Yeah.
Or at least, do your best to break it for you, and then that helps loosen it for the rest of the family. That's right. Yeah, it's ballsy work.
Do you reckon you can actually get the root out? Like, do you reckon you can pull it out, the root?
Yes, I've had that experience myself, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I just look at the main story for me was my mother. That's what sort of got me into this work.
Yeah.
We had a horrendous relationship. The love was there, like so much love, but just zero understanding, and so continuously hurting each other, like really hurting each other with misunderstanding. And I went to the bottom of the barrel. I went down to the bottom of the barrel of the upset, in a session, and 4 or 5 hour session, and wow, like came up the other side and had so much awareness change about how it was to be in relationship with me, like being in my mum's shoes. That was part of the process, being in my mum's shoes and being asked questions about what it was like to be in relationship with Chrissie, and my God, the awareness you get when you do that, when you actually feel what you're like, what you're giving out.
Yeah.
And it just melts everything. I mean, if you're really there to restore love, and you just melts everything. You just have to take responsibility. Like, my God, I've been a right little bitch, to say the least. And it just changed. It totally changed. And me and my mum have been best friends ever since.
Yeah. Has your mum done the work too, or
not?
She didn't need to, right?
Didn't even tell her I did it.
Okay.
You don't need to. The other person does not need to engage.
When you say the work, what work are you referring to right now?
Well, the
Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Is it on your t-shirt?
Talk about it.
Tell her.
The codes.
Don't make me get the sauce out.
Get the cold sauce. I only drink cold sauce on Mondays.
Okay. So tell us, Chrissie, like the work that you're doing, because I've experienced some of it.
Yeah.
It's helped me a lot. Still so much, obviously, like got to get to the bottom of the barrel, but definitely has helped me restore love in many areas in my life. But yeah, like how do you describe the work and what's involved?
What's happening? Okay,
Yeah,
so the
tell
way I
us.
describe the work is
Can you
very
name the work? Because I
The
feel like
work.
people
The
are-
work
No,
doesn't
it's
have a
just
name,
it
does
doesn't have
it?
a name. It's just the sort of the courses, or the course that we do at the Mana Movement, which is
Okay.
called Humanity. And very simply, it's 10 keys. 10 keys over that weekend course. We deliver 10 concepts or keys that really help you unlock your life, helps you unlock every area of your life, wherever you have stuckness, wherever you're stuck, wherever you're blocked, whether that's in key relationships, it could be in your creativity flowing, it could be in money, it could be your health that's blocked, like, whatever it is, these 10 concepts or keys, we're calling them, they're like magic. If you apply them, I mean, we hand them to you, but you have to use them.
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
up to you then to put in the work and use them. But they do. They open a lot. They open a lot in the spiritual universe, and it's really simple stuff. We have kids doing the course. We have all manner of people come in. It's not sort of spiritual, or we don't talk much about energy. It's open to all walks of life because it really relates to every human. So it's very simple stuff. Yeah, and we're loving it. And it's kind of miraculous, actually, watching what happens to people and their hearts in just a few days or even a few hours. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does help. It does help the concepts, like, it kind of gives you like a framework to work off when you're talking about these subconscious things or these patterns that come up. It kind of gives you, it's like a set of tools, right, that help you kind of deal with things when they come up, or see where, like you're saying, see where you've got blocks. Because one of the things that I got out of that was around that lowest common denominator, around how, like, if you have a certain, feeling towards something, everything else is going to, it can only go as far as that lowest common denominator.
Yes.
And so that was a real key for me. It's like, okay, well, I need to, like, I can't have that towards that thing because that's actually showing up in these other areas which I wouldn't have even, they don't relate, but it's the energy that you're putting towards it, right?
That's it. And you can apply that tool or key to every day. You can absolutely instantly lift your energy. Even if you were to go, okay, right, I'm going to wake up today, and who is it in my family that is the lowest common denominator? Meaning, like, where is the energy, like the lowest? Oh, it's my brother. I haven't spoken to him in a year. Okay, flow that person some love, and the whole family lifts, not just you and he. It lifts the dynamics for anyone. And that concept, that key, lowest common denominator, you can apply to so many things in just one day and just shift left, right, and centre. And that's just one of the keys. Like, it's very simple stuff. It's so powerful. Like, it changed my life, hugely. And that's why obviously I trained in it and I'm delivering it to others because it's just works.
And how did you first come across that work?
It was because of my relationship with my mother. So I was living in Paris at the time, and my stuff or my baggage, you know, had like, which I'd been running away from for 10 years, like in heavy rat bagism in London and Paris, just being a wild child. And and then in Paris, it really started hitting me, like coming right up to this. I just was almost agoraphobic. Like I just was starting to get anxious, really anxious, and didn't want to leave the apartment. I was like, what is going on? And I just could feel it. I was like, this is my mum. This is my pain about my mum. Like I have to sort this out. And at the time, a dear friend back in Australia was doing this work, and she just said, shit, Chrissie, get on a plane, just come and do this bloody workshop. Trust me, it will all change. Yeah. Trust me. And she just took me through little bits, and everything she said resonated with me, my whole body. Like I could feel the expansion, you know, or the space, let's say. When she talked to me, I was like, I could just feel truth and space. I was like, what? And I decided, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm going to come back and I'm going to get on that bloody course. And I did. And my life has just been the most awesome ride ever since. You know, I was pretty much on the carpet at that point, like not doing well.
Yeah. Was that your first or, you know, encounter with self-development work, or was that something that you'd been avoiding? Like, what was your relationship with self-development, or whatever you want to call that, beforehand?
It's a good question. My relationship with self-development, I think was I was very invested in spiritual exploration, but not sort of grassroots, how's your bloody heart going? Like how are your relationships, how your heart. So I, from the age of 19, got really quite heavily into studying all sorts of things, you know, like the Kabbalah. I was really heavily studying the Kabbalah and Buddhism and ceremonial magic and like all sorts of things. You know, I was just in and out. I told you before, Scientology. I was like going in and out of everything, looking for clues, looking for truth. Tantra, like all sorts of things, and was loving it. Then, you know, like developing astral traveling abilities and just hungry, really hungry for, you know, who are we? What is this? But in terms of like really simple stuff about, you know, how are you treating other people and all that sort of stuff, I wasn't really looking at that.
It sounds.
There's a bit of a common thread with that in the spiritual world too. You know,
because it's like if you're not in an environment or a community or a process that is actually making you create the change that you need. You can have all the information given to you, but until you turn that into some sort of action where you communicate differently or go or face something that you're really confronted by, or your parents or siblings or whatever, and you actually, like, you can have all this knowledge and have all this spiritual like insight to things, but if you're not actually putting anything into practice, you don't get it. Like nothing happens, right? It's like, and you kind of get even more like, and then it becomes this whole thing where you, I don't know, you get like a God complex or something where you're like,
it's
really
like knowledge versus wisdom, like you're not applying it.
Intellectually like overloaded with spiritual concepts, but like you're not embodying any of the practice. Like,
it's really boring, isn't it?
What does Paul Chek say? You know, you learn more and more about
less and less until you know
absolutely
everything about nothing.
Yeah, no, you know absolutely nothing about everything.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything. Yeah.
But I think what he's saying is that people study and study and study and study, like at universities or like
he's talking about PhDs.
That you know more and you learn more and more about less and less until you know absolutely
everything about nothing.
Absolutely nothing about everything.
I don't know. Anyway, but
I got the idea. Yeah,
but you're not putting the idea. The idea is that you don't put anything into practice. You just know everything, but don't actually know actually know. Anything.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that, you know, it's all about the demonstration. You know, it's all about the demonstration and the simple things. You know, like how are you relating to your neighbours, and how are things going with your family, and have you got enough money? Like, are your flows good? Are you responsible? If are you actually, is life going well? Like on paper as well.
Yeah.
Is life actually going well? Are you creating? Are you solid? Are you, because a lot of the spiritual information doesn't really mean that you're, walking a successful life. So it's just simpler than that. I think it's got to be simpler than all the metaphysical information that, I just think spirituality is really about love in action.
Yeah.
Like really love in action. And that's a simple thing,
Totally.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. Love in action. Well, yeah, it's like I've been reflecting on this lately. Like, it's like, and we spoke about rites of passage a bit on the pod before, but like in terms of like the whole point of it is like people coming together to experience something, but it's not necessarily just told to you. Somebody's living by example that is leading, the people, the next generation or whoever, or 2 generations below even, elders to the kids, showing by example.
Yep.
Not explaining like there might be explanations too, but it's like it's not just this theory, it's a real walk. Like you're walking the path and it's like, hey, this is it, do as I do, or do, this is
like
the
example. Like the guides you were talking about. But it's like with sports teams, they keep some of the older players. They don't just throw all new players on the court. They'll have like the older players on the court too. So there's kind of like a passing of a transfer of knowledge, a knowledge base, stewardship.
Yeah, I mean, it's, from what you're saying, Tom, just there, it's, I think people are clever. Humans are clever. We can sense bullshit. Energy doesn't lie. We can tell when someone is trying to teach us something that they haven't yet embodied. Like we can feel it. We're just not trusting what we're feeling. But it's, with the work we're doing, it's so important to us that if someone's up the front of the room delivering those keys, that they're walking them in their life and they're speaking from experience. They're speaking from their own embodied experience. This is what I've seen with this key with my family. This changed my family. These concepts are totally like it's got to be embodied and felt by people. Otherwise, it's just more intellectual blah blah. And we've had enough of that.
Yeah.
As humans, we've had enough of it. It's not gotten us anywhere.
Yeah, because we're kind of operating too much from that, right? The logic and the mental.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really about more dropping into the heart space and really feeling that and communicating from that place, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we all want to. We want to feel more love in the world. We've got to we're just. We're all after love. We want to feel it. We want to find it in communities, in families. We're just looking for the love. Like that's what fills us up. Nothing else really scratches the surface. I put a post up the other day that was like, what are we remembering on our deathbeds? It's not our achievements. It's our connections. It's the heart connections. That means everything to us. Do you know? And I think, now is the time to be mastering our heart connections, making more and more. Like how far out can your heart reach? Like how many people can you touch with your heart? Like that's what's going to strengthen us as a race. That's what's going to have us come through these controls that are pressing in on us, is us connecting like mycelium with the strongest part of our technology, the miraculous technology, the cosmic technology of the human body, and that's the heart. We're not using it enough.
Yeah, it's like literally at a suppressed vibration, like
even the music. Like the hertz, the frequencies change, right? It was 528's love frequency and it's now what for?
But like the more that the more that you're in like a fear or anxiety, which is running rampant right now, and for a lot of reasons, it's like that's taking the love away. It's taking that energy and funneling it into a more fear frequency. And like you look at like Joe Dispenza's work or whatever, how they literally like monitor people's frequency of their hearts in these like environments where they see it, their hearts expand and see the power and actually the distance that it resonates, and then it starts to create that like like literally when people are together, that and everyone starts to attune, it's got this amazing capability of your heart to like start to pull out everyone other's hearts into sync with it.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's true. But it's like, you know, that's so powerful, but it's like, you know, the world's sort of like, you know, it's very rare at the moment where you're in that kind of love vibration.
That's right.
In the physical, and even post-COVID, it's even more rare because it's like, you know,
what about
physical, like big gatherings and stuff is less common.
The
Yes.
1.5 meter thing. What about that?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's like, I can't remember, is it 3 I think it's 3 feet. Like when your heart's like in a good vibration, it's like a 3 foot like good
radius
or distance from your heart. So like when they were saying COVID was, you know, stay 3 meters or 1.5 meters away, was it pretty much the 6 feet mark, which is like
correct.
out of heart's resonance with each other.
All purposeful. That's right. Yes, it's rare.
And then fear is, you know, now anxiety and all these things are just gone gangbusters, and you wonder because the connect, like you're saying, it comes back to the connection.
Yeah, and we're so distracted from that. Do you know? Like we're so distracted from that. There's so much else that's catching our attention and things we're running on treadmills to achieve. But it's like far out. It really is. I know this sounds so cliched, but it is the bloody beingness, not the doingness. Like a human being. Like if we were just to cultivate, you know, the beingness, just sitting still and actually master what we have, you know, mastering the ability of our heart, like it would be game over.
That's what Joe.
Or game
on.
Game over. Yeah, thank you. Well, that's game over. They're game over. Our game on.
But that's what Joe was talking about. We had Joe Rushton on the podcast, who's I'm studying with at the moment. I'm doing something called the Master's Way, and it's very much about that. It's like 3 years. We meet every Tuesday for 3 hours, and the first year is all about the feminine. The second year is about the masculine, and the third year they kind of integrate it all. Wow. But it's very much about that. Like she came on the podcast and she was saying, you know, everyone's all about the doing. But sometimes to solve something, you know, like you might think that doing more is going to get that thing done, but actually it's doing less, you know, stepping more into the feminine, like you're saying, just being. And I think you can definitely get caught in a trap with that, like just especially being very much in the material, whereas sometimes, well, a lot of things are just manifesting in the physical that are happening in the metaphysical, and it's like sometimes you just need to sit and address what's going on out there.
Sit and receive the answer.
Yeah.
Sort of go out and find it. Just sit. And especially with others, when you do that with others.
That was probably the most profound thing from the mana, doing the work there, is because you're doing group work, right? You're working with somebody in a session.
Yep. And
it was really profound that when you sat with someone and they were talking about their stuff or they're upset and then you're going through the process, it was like you. It was like you were always the other person was always like perfectly matched for some reason.
And randomly.
Really random.
Random, but perfect. Isn't that amazing? I see it all the time. Like you just can't believe how people who randomly sit together, you know, this person is you're representing my son and you're representing my father. Like the perfect match. The way spirit orchestrates that is just
amazing.
Profound.
It's amazing.
It sure is.
And you get so much even just from being not the one who's talking. You get so much from just receiving. Like I had so many moments like that just kind of blew my mind when I was there.
That's correct.
Incredible.
That's correct. It's like even just like the listening to another unravels your story. We were doing some work today in the training that we've got on at the moment, and you know, two sisters were, you know, working together, and you know, one of them was sort of jamming a little, you know, meaning, you know, she had some resistance. She was, you know, her flow was kind of blocking. There was some resistance coming up for her, and I just said, look, just swap over, because what happens, like if, you know, we block, it's like, okay, well, it's not moving, don't want to take up the space, flip it over, and what happens, and again, miraculously, time and time again, the other person just starts talking and it absolutely unlocks exactly where they were locked up.
Crazy.
The magic that we cannot even begin to perceive that is going on when a group of people come together with the same intention, right? I'm coming in, to get into my heart and to make things better for myself and my family. Simple intention like that. But it's funny how to say it. It's a simple intention, but in the metaphysics, it's not simple at all. When you get a group of people doing that, it's powerful. And it is very much supported, it seems, by spirit, God, the creator, whatever you want to call it. The way, like we were saying, things just come together in incredible. It's like, what actually is going on here?
You realise,
amazing.
like, when people come together in that sort of way, it's with the intention, like you're saying, to be open as well. Like the openness allows everyone to be able to see each other within each other. And then that's, again, like the connection. You start to realise how connected everyone is, because it's like whatever story someone's telling you is a completely different story, but you can hear yourself and your own story and you can empathise with you're like, that's the same thing, in a different way, but it's like the same thing. And then you're like, it's like that connection again, because you're like, we're just all the same.
We're all
going through the same
We're all
thing.
little
We're just different
sweeties,
eyeballs.
little fluffy sweeties. That
Sometimes.
you just okay, so hold on.
We're not all fluffy, a bit scaly or whatever, crusty, crustaceans.
Squishy.
Yeah, that's right. No, it is. It's really beautiful when, people realise, wow, we're all just the same, and those differences just melt. There's differences that we think are between us. They just melt. It's like we're all loving. We're all missing love. We all missed it. We all want it. We all experience anger or grief or jealousy, or all of us do. Do like we're all the same.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah. And what's the plan for the mana, Chrissie? Because you've had a bit of a journey with it all.
Yes.
And but it's beautiful to see the evolution, even just following your social media and seeing you kind of growing and evolving and, being really vulnerable as well in your story and sharing and, like you're saying, walking the walk and putting these, these concepts into practice.
Thank you.
How do you see the mana and where it's going? Because it sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know where it came from as well at the same time. I don't know if that's to answer first or after, but
Should we go there?
like what's
Should
the
we go there and then bring it here, or should we?
Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
take it away.
Okay.
Tell us,
Okay.
give us the full
Okay. So the
in
mana
whatever order you
movement.
like.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, the mana movement. We've been around. You need a beer?
Yeah. You want one, Tom?
Sure.
Go,
Does
Chrissie.
Piggy want a beer? Okay, so
Thank you.
how long? We've been around for about 3 years, and basically the mana movement was born simply of me having lots of different projects on the go that were all under the same umbrella of sort of healing or self-development or what have you. And a good friend just said, come on, girl, like it's all, these are all great things that you're offering, but just bring it under one umbrella. So that's what happened a few years ago. And
So that was the beginning 3 years ago, the mana movement.
Yeah.
As a
yes, but a lot of the community and the people that are with us have been friends and students are working with me from 10 years ago. Do you know, like
Like with all your other projects?
yeah. Yeah, I tend to like keep people. Do you
Well,
know,
that's
like
good.
I fall in love
Retention.
with nearly everyone, like I make a lot of good friends actually through my work, like, so then we stay really connected. So so that's that, and basically now it's evolving into something really exciting and healthy and powerful. And it's basically, I feel it's kind of just like a charge up station, a place for people to come and to drop some stuff that's blocking them and get some really cool keys and tools, and then to go back out in life and rock their lives, whatever that is. We're not in, the business of, saying you got to keep working and, walking with us forever. It's like, no, we don't want that at all. We quite like the idea of people coming in, powering up fast and going out and making change in however they want to do that in their lives, So where I see this going is pretty much all around the world. I am building it so that we'll have Mana family and teams in the US in a couple of years. We'll be launching there, rooted there, and in Europe in 2025. And, it's going to be...
Crazy to hear that number.
Yeah,
2025.
I know. Look, I'm telling you, I don't usually think further ahead than 10 months, a year. I really don't. I never have. But I'm working with someone who is really, really helping me to go, no, come on, girl.
That's cool.
This work is powerful and the world needs it. Let's freaking go. Now you need to, so I'm strategizing now. I've been sort of just doing, working from what feels good. Just going from intuition, let's put on this event, let's do that retreat. But now I'm actually got my big girl pants on and I'm going for it. Yeah. And I'm really excited because I do have a lot of creativity. I have a huge amount of physical energy and I can multitask like a mother. And
damn, I need a button for that.
We need a button, we need a pig. And I have actually been operating on about 20 or 30%. I feel I'm seeing now, I'm coming out of some conditioning I went under a bunch of years ago, and I'm seeing that I've been playing really sort of, just a little bit of, just got to be really humble with your growth. It's like, no, I really believe that people that are here to do good things need to take up as much space as possible right now. There is this funny little pseudo, I think it's a limitation, but it's a belief of, I'm not saying, I'm not talking about vanity, but you can be very influential and effective in the world and successful and still be very humble. It's not about being an ass, but it is about knowing that you've got some power, knowing you've got some great tools and doing everything you can to get them out there to people. And that's what I'm keen to do.
Yeah.
That's been something for us too, hasn't it?
It takes time, because it's a confidence thing or a working out of thing, especially if it's a project, if it's a manner or wordplay or whatever we're doing. It's you kind of start in that way where and it goes to these these cycles of maturity, like you do as a human, where it's that was me dipping my toe in, and then it's okay, I'm comfortable with that now, and then it's time to peel off another shell and off we go again.
Put the pincers in. That's right, both.
But it's but then I feel you get to a point and we're kind of there as well, where it's you're just ready to just unleash.
Ready to go next level. That you plateau and you start to feel like you're in a chrysalis and it's getting tight and you're like, no, I need growth. I can feel it. Yeah. And that's the best time. That's when you collaborate. That's when you start reaching out and working with people and in ways that you've never done before, which is what I'm doing. And it feels awesome. It feels so good. It's so exciting.
It's very regenerative energy too, isn't it?
Yes.
It's just the more you put out, the more you get back, and you just charges you up.
Yeah, it's so exciting to think of all the different people, groups, organizations around the world that you can connect with and create with in a million different ways. Let's go. That's infinite. What I was saying earlier. It's time to connect. It's time to be working with groups all, find out who's doing your thing and connect up. We're all sort of working so individually, and it's no, come on, let's, I've been, that quote of, I think it's Martin Luther King, that it just keeps going around in my head a lot in the last couple of months, which is, those who love peace must be as well organised as those who love war. Yeah. And I see that us lovers are doing beautiful things all around the world, but there's not a lot of sort of strategy to be connecting up more and more. We're all just sort of doing our beautiful thing, and it's I feel like now is the time to really be reaching out more and more and into collaboration.
Yeah, well, that's definitely the work that we're in is, we've got this picture here of our teachers here, Matt and Gail, who created this methodology, this design methodology that we use as a co-design methodology. And they're very much about designing the future. And Gail was a Montessori school teacher, so it's all that element of play. And, you know, 'cause she's saying play is how we escape to a higher order. You know, we need to have play serious business. But here's an axiom for you, just going off what you're saying. You know, it's like I feel like we're at that point too where we really need to kind of get to the future, because we've also been in this process of emergence where we've been becoming, you know, we've been also learning skills and developing ourselves and doing the work and emerging as practitioners in the work that we do and as people. You know, we've got this blank wall here that we want to put our vision on our future, but you know, and I feel like, you know, you're kind of at that point now where it's like, you know, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And here's an axiom that Matt and Gail have is you can't get there from here, but you can get here from there. So when you can actually go to the future and design the future and really articulate what it looks like, it's not about making now the future. It's actually about going there, being there, and then bringing a little bit more of there here each day.
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying. My mate Harry, we were talking about this last night, and he was just talking about you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect the dots.
The future is only rational in hindsight.
And going backwards.
You know the instructions only after you've assembled the red wagon, as they say.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It all makes perfect sense once it's done, isn't it? Looking back.
Right.
In hindsight.
Exactly.
And the more you can create the hindsight in advance, you know, by going to the future, the more you'll be able to create the steps to bring there here.
And you're manifesting that future, that state into the present moment, because it's you're able to attune your vibration to match that creation. So you're able to, you know, because if you have no idea where you're going, or you know, like you're saying, any road will get you there. So but you know, you got to kind of rise out of all the shit that you might be experiencing in the present moment to be able to
that'd be good
to be able to have that perspective.
Well, there's a reason why there's a reason why they employ futurists and things like that at the World Economic Forum, and they actually use M.G. Taylor at the forum, this method to design the future. And so, you know, it's very powerful. It's a very powerful thing to go there and explore what there looks like, because whoever's holding the pen, you know, in terms of creating that future, whether it's a collective future or an individual future, that's whatever you choose to focus on is going to become the reality.
That's it.
Where you're looking is where you're heading.
It's like snowboarding.
Snowboarding, exactly, yeah. It's like, I'm trying to remember, there was a joke about that. It's like, you know, you walk into the pole if you're staring at it, you kind of thing, you know, like it's like, but that's right. It's like snowboarding. You crash into what you're looking at. So it's
usually the ground for me. But
so you're focused on that. That's what's going to happen. That's the future state that you're going to create, rather than looking at some other potential, you know.
And I love how that you brought up play earlier with your mentor there, Gail.
Yeah.
You know, like, yes, we should all be focusing on play way more. It's funny. It's like when we play and when we bring in that frequency of joy and innocence, it just melts so much shit in the field. It melts away all that significance and all the right and wrong and everything that's going on in the world. It's just that, you know, the energy of innocence is a superpower, and we're not using it enough also. Do you know, we're not playing enough. We've gotten very, very serious.
Well, that's it. It's like a lot of these problems that we're facing as humanity are very rational problems. You know, very rational problems that are very easy to solve. And it's not that's not what gets in the way. It's the politics and the emotions that get in the way of change. So when, you know, and Matt and Gail talked about this, you know, it's like it doesn't matter how complicated the situation is within an organization. It's like if you give people a problem to solve and you put all different types of people that might be normally in conflict in a room together to solve that problem, all of a sudden, you know, the differences get put aside and people just get to work on getting it done.
Yes, that's what we use an example like that a lot in our courses, and it's that example of, you know, being in a bigger picture. Do you know, like I was talking about it yesterday on Instagram, like you know, the bigger picture with these, you know, this group of people you've just mentioned is solving that problem. The small picture is their differences.
Yeah.
And so the analogy we use is you have a couple and they're having a massive argument and they're ripping each other to pieces, and then they find out that the house next door is on fire. What do? They drop everything and run to the fire and to see how they can help. Now, they don't go back to their home and go, now, where were we? And pick up the argument, do they? No. You know, that bigger picture issue has melted the small picture, and suddenly they're like, oh, my God, I'm so glad I have you. You know, it's really going into a bigger picture does melt so much of the small picture shit.
Well, we saw that live in action here in the Northern Rivers, you know, during
Floods.
COVID, and then everyone's in masks and all this thing around, you know, 1.5 meters, and maybe not so much in Murwillumbah, but there was it was present. And then the floods happen and everyone's there shoveling mud, the community's together, like people are running barbecues and food drives and laundry, you know, services, and then you don't see a mask in sight. Yeah, not one. Yeah. You don't see one after that, do you? Everyone's like, screw that. We've just been flooded. We don't care.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, beautiful example of that.
Yeah.
Getting into a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And connecting everyone. That was the most connected, like, I think the most connected experience I've had in terms of like just naturally people coming together through a crisis where you know, if you're looking at the media and whatever, you know, the world through the goggle box, it's like, oh, the humans are horrible and everyone's selfish and blah, blah, blah. And then, but like when actually shit hits the fan, people are coming from all over the country, like the water guy and all these people
that's right.
coming to help people that they have absolutely no connection to because they felt the call to. And then it was this amazing, like that was a full love vibration going on during the floods.
It was great, wasn't it?
The cleanup of the floods was like high vibes.
Oh,
I mean, not the floods, but the whole thing. It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Which was horrible. Like it's like from that like adverse and horrible situation came like this amazing, like you're saying, big picture. It's like everyone's just like, all right, you know. Well, whatever I'm complaining about doesn't matter right now. I'm going down there and I'm going to help some people.
Yes.
The pendulum has to swing the other way. It's just I don't know if that's physics. I'm not very good with that stuff, but it's like, you know, when you swing a pendulum, it has to come back equal the other side. You know, it's like the energy has to be matched in a polarized,
There's a book about that. What's it called? It's about consciousness. Anyway, can't remember.
Look it up. We'll put it in the link below.
Isaac Bentoff. It's something about the pendulum swinging, but yeah. Anyway, continue.
So the mana, Chrissie. Because I noticed as well, you're doing a lot of overseas stuff. You're doing a lot of trips away. Is this the humanity course, or what are these things that you got going on?
So basically
you're doing a sailing trip or something.
Yeah, we're doing a sailing trip in Croatia with the women. Yeah, that's a completely unique offering. You know, usually my retreats are in Peru and they're deep dives and it's no technology.
You're going to be diving for real.
Serious. And then this one is like, no, let's just go and be feminine on the water, on the Adriatic, and just expand and be still and enjoy, and it's going to be beautiful. We're going to be going into caves and drumming and working with Kundalini energy and yoga and crystal law, and it's just going to be absolutely beautiful. So we're doing that, and going to California in September into the desert for a 5-night retreat where I will be presenting Humanity, the course, and that's in conjunction with an incredible Ayurvedic doctor, Dr. Joseph Hanovnikian. But, 2 or 3 times a year we're going to have offerings overseas. We're going back to Peru in December with Elijah Ray. Next year we'll be doing something in Bali, which is our first. But, basically, to have – because, everybody wants to do something different. For some people they – want to go, into the bush with us for 3 nights and do sweat lodge and work with plant medicine. Other people, they want to go overseas. Other people just have a weekend from their busy schedule and they'll come and do the workshop. So we offer a number of different ways for people to connect more deeply.
Yeah. There's something to be said in that though, because like, you know, something that's helped us grow a lot is doing sabbaticals. So we've basically, we haven't done one recently, but what was very much part of our rhythm was that we would, every 6 months we would go away somewhere, it would get an Airbnb somewhere, and we would just put client work away, and we would just focus on wordplay stuff.
Beautiful.
And there is something in that, in actually stepping outside into something in a completely different environment, because then you can really, you make the space to actually, you know, expand, like you're saying, and grow. Maybe you're not deep diving, you know, like you would if you were in Peru, but you are in a way, because you're able to expand and actually get a different perspective on things.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I travel if we can do it, and I think, you know, it's so good for our soul. I'm not, you know, and it's not for everyone, obviously, but it's so nourishing. It's so nourishing to put ourselves in different environments and hear different languages and cultures. Like it does grow us.
Yeah.
I do believe it creates a more mature human.
100%.
You know, that, you know, people that are flexible, you know, to be you know, flexibility is another superpower. You know, if we can be flexible people and, you know, sway like bamboo, like they say, we're going to get through life so much easier than if we stay in one way and one place and only, you know, it's a very cool thing.
Well, we're a product of our environment, and like, you know, if you're in the same environment, you get the same
Feedback
perspective.
loop.
Yeah, so it's just you're constantly there. But and I just, like, as you're just saying that, I'm just thinking about like all the times that I've travelled. I've always had, like, they change your life. They like, something happens along those journeys where you just have it might just be on a bus.
Yes.
Staring out, and then just boom, something drops in, and you're like, whoa, like that's just
right.
a new perspective that just literally shapes the rest of, you know, the next part of your life.
That's right.
And a lot of it comes from being in transit for some reason, or like being, like
Between
in a new environment, but
spaces.
in between. It's like not even when you landed somewhere. It's usually like, well, for me anyway, it's like on a bus, somewhere where you're just kind of like in that subconscious or beta brainwave, beta? Lower?
Theta, theta.
You know,
Something.
state where you're kind of in that, you're just kind of like.
Bloody physics.
I don't even know if that's physics. It's metaphysics, something.
It's quantum
Let's move
physics. We're designers.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Consciousness book.
Travel. Let's travel. But you're traveling, okay.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask about the because I noticed on your website there was like a youth section too.
Yes, that's
about-
a big
yes.
change for
What
us.
about
That's super exciting.
'em young.
Get 'em young. We look, I have, you know, a
'em
teenager
young.
who is wild right now. My huge spirited Zion. He's just the most incredible human being.
How old?
He's 13, and he is just like, this system, I am not down with.
Where does he
this.
get that from?
I have no idea. It's really hard for me to work that out. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, he's grown up hiking mountains in the Andes and drinking wachuma and in sweat lodge. He's grown up with all of, you know, the initiations. Yet at the age he's at, you know, and it's very typical, I think, of our children to want to do the opposite of what their parents are doing.
I think that's by design. I've heard
Yes.
Dave Asprey talking about that. It's like there's something around that for human development where when you get to that age, you just think your parents are dickheads, and then by the time you get to early 20s, you're like, actually,
They're pretty cool.
they're pretty smart.
Well, you got to find your own way to some degree.
Absolutely, and that is part of the soul developmental task of early adolescence is to break away.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Part of your development.
Sorry?
It's part of your development.
Yeah, part of the development of the soul,
Yeah.
you know. But, you know, obviously our society is sorely lacking in, you know, coming of age experiences for boys and for girls, rites of passage work, all of that thing where we, you know, powerfully mark that they are moving away from being a girl and into young womanhood, or moving away from being a boy and into young manhood. Like, that is such a powerful time in a human's life, and it is not marked at all in Western society. And So we're seeing it obviously around more and more. We're seeing, youth work and initiation and rites of passage work popping up. But it's something that, we're really excited about with Mana. So we're going to be doing 3-night camping
Cool.
gigs for young boys, and young girls and help them. We're going to deliver, a couple of the keys from the Humanity workshop for them, and we'll be doing, sort of emotional work where they can skill up with and understand their emotions, breath work and ice baths and, things to, endurance exercises for the boys and even combat for the boys, like using their bodies, in masculine ways and weaving and singing and for the girls and just, the just beautiful things that they can come to, that they could come to every 3 months if they wanted or once a year, and the parents can come too, the fathers can come with the boys if they want to and the mamas can come with the girls or not. But we'll be starting that in the new year in January.
Sweet.
Yeah,
cool.
and that's
cool.
really cool. A lot of the families around us, have been bringing their kids to our weekenders and they say how much they love that to come away, with the children to an experience where a whole bunch of adults are doing sweat lodge and deep diving and dancing on the earth and the kids are a part of it. And it's just obviously very natural that the whole family unit is at these things. So, to have the kids have their own spaces and events that we're brewing up is really important to us because they need it. They need so much more support than they're getting.
We've spoken
Far
about that,
out.
haven't we, Tom?
Oh, it's insane what they're
I
putting
needed
up
it
with.
when I was a teenager.
I mean,
Far
we
out.
needed
I
it, but
didn't
look
have
at what
it.
they're contending with now. I mean, it's a whole
next
different
level.
world. It is a different
It
world.
is.
All that, having the phones and the social media and just, I hate
They're
to say, but
exposed
even
to
what they're just
so much
spraying
more
on the
information.
marijuana these days. Back when we were smoking, it was just it was just plants.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
There's so much these kids are contending with. It's full on.
Well, yeah, not just on the marijuana, it's on everything.
Everything.
Like
Well,
the
you
chemicals.
realize,
Right.
I'm not going to go into the cleanse again, but
What did you say?
that was a really big learning experience for us because it is. It's like you think you're doing good, you think you're eating well, or you're healthy, but just everything like you just seed oils even and what's involved in that and how that impacts your body. But it's like there's so many things everywhere that you just have to be so mindful of.
That's right.
Because not only does it impact your body, but your mental state. And then, talking about this rites of passage stuff, it's like, we look for that in ways as teenagers, in like alcohol abuse or,
Those same the same
you
tendencies.
see that.
With drugs or just pressuring each other to do things as teenagers or whatever in an unhealthy way.
You see that.
Yep.
Fighting, violence,
Yeah.
all that, proving yourself, all those sorts of things.
Yes, and look, I just think boredom is a huge factor. Do you know, like the education system is failing. Do you know? Is has failed.
Or has it
humanity.
failed, or is it by design?
Or is it
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
Successful, very successful.
Oh, very
Chrissie.
successful. Pumping out robots, very good at it. Yes, I mean, far out. It's just, it's completely failed the human soul, and the kids are onto it now. I mean, the parents are onto it, especially post COVID when everyone's pulling their kids out of schools and going, "No, I'm not doing this anymore." And
So
the
many
kids,
are switched. Like it seems like they're switched on.
Yeah.
now. Like when I was these age that I talk to kids that are in their teens, they're saying shit that I'm like, that's amazing. You're saying
How
that
do
when
you
you're
know
15. Like I was like 20 something when I realized the media might not be telling the truth, and they're like, the media is bullshit. You're like,
yeah,
nice.
9/11 didn't happen. They're onto it. They've got the resources with those bloody phones.
Yeah.
They can find things
They're
out really
exposed
fast.
to so much more because I remember when I was a kid, they're going, you're exposed to like so much more information than the next generation, but it's like the next generation, like they're
What?
exposed to like
It just gets
just
downloaded.
gets-
Yeah,
Oh.
that's
it's just
wrong.
so insane. They're maturing.
finger
It
in.
seems like they're maturing younger in way, or like intellectual, or like I don't know how to describe it, but like
Yes.
just the amount of information that they have access to
Yes.
from like even before they're 10
I know.
is insane.
And it's awful, and it's not a good thing. Maturing younger and younger, it's like, what happened to the play? What happened to nature? Just stay up the tree for a few more years.
I saw this this post the other day. It was like we spend the first half of our life learning to become an adult, and then we spend the second half of our life learning to become a child.
Yeah, wow.
True.
Picasso.
True.
Is it Picasso?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's it.
You put that up the other day,
I
right?
did,
Yeah, that's it. It's
Yeah.
like, that's exactly it, isn't it?
Yeah, and the kids, like I'm looking at my son, and he's bored. Do you know, like he's bored. He's like he's seen a lot of the world. He's like he's sitting there in a school in a that's boring as batshit, and the town's got not a lot to do, and they're just bored. Like they want to be out. They want to be contributing. They want to be doing cool stuff, and there's just not enough option.
Yeah, how do they channel that? Like, what's out there?
It's like there's that generational thing. Like, I don't know if you know the turnings. I think we mentioned them before. Have you heard about the fourth turning? There's like this book and this concept around like these 80-year cycles and how each 20 years is like a season essentially, like, and it's related to the seasons like summer, spring, autumn, winter, and when you're born in each of those paradigms essentially, or the seasons, that's what a generation is, so it's like the boomers or the hippies or whatever, and it's like related to because when you're born at a time, you like we were saying, your environment is creating your worldviews and your perspective and everything. So it's like, the kids of today, the world that they've been brought up in and have to kind of go against, it's like they're probably the hippies of the 60s, now, 80 years later or close to, it's like, that's like, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, as like a generation, like, because what they're going to stand for and what they like you're saying, if they're bored and they want to contribute, it's like, what's going to happen, we're going to work it out, that energy is going to go somewhere, and there's going
pendulum's going to swing.
Yeah, the pendulum's going to swing, and it's
going to be crazy.
There's going to be some good parties.
And tie-dye.
Can't wait for Woodstock 2.0.
That's right. Yeah, no, they definitely came here. They knew what they were doing. I reckon these kids when they came here. I my viewpoint is that we come here from the cosmos. We come here with a purpose, and we come here knowing what we came here to do. And I just think that when I look at the kids coming through, I'm like, wow, you guys have chosen epic missions. Like, what an amazing time to arrive here on the planet. Like with what we're going through at the moment, with the end of days, in a way, of the old world and the old systems.
Because it is boring, when you like being a teen. Imagine being 13 today, going like, "Is this like for real? All this stuff, all these like views
rules
and ways of doing
things."
I
know.
That's it.
You just be like, "Ew, get off,"
because it's a frequency. All those rules are so outdated. Do you know? I mean, my son is just going, he can't be with it. He's just like, fucked.
Yeah,
it's not. He can see straight through it.
What kind of stuff is he into?
Rugby and video games.
Rugby,
Tom's a rugby guy. Well, he was a rugby guy.
No, yeah, I like rugby.
Oh, that's good.
I was a rugby guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm jiu-jitsu, which is me
Get him
finding,
into jiu-jitsu.
me finding my rugby, like, because I forgot about. I used to love rugby growing up, teenager, all through my teen. Up until I was like 20, I was playing rugby, and then I turned into a full yogi, where I was just like, downward dogs and sun salutations and stuff.
The pendulum swings.
Wings, does it not?
Which was nice. But then I found jiu-jitsu and I was like, holy shit, I forgot about contact. I forgot about physicality.
It's a nice balance between rugby and yoga.
It's actually a combo of yoga and rugby is jiu-jitsu.
Right.
It's like,
It
it's
is
very it's a very much like breathing, being centered, balance, all these like very foundational principles of life, push, pull, using people's,
being comfortable under pressure.
Don't meet people with the same energy that's coming at you. It's like diffuse situation, like all these great things that come with it. But it's like not a team sport, but you train as a community.
Right.
So it's got all these great things that rugby had that I just kind of like, I got to the end of rugby and I neglected it because I was like, oh, fuck all this shit, like footy, and I'm going to go, yes, the pendulum swings, I'm going to go full Om Shanti for a while.
Did you
and then I found
pink lycra? Come on.
But well, I went to India, you know, did all the things, and then
Enlightened.
got enlightened, yes, met a guru, he made me pay him some money, and no.
Cold sauce.
Sauce.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know where that story is going, but jiu-jitsu is great. Yeah.
I'll get him into it.
Yeah, well,
Got it.
you know, maybe
He's going to rebel against that.
Maybe
Then
we
he's going to pendulum swing the other way. He's going to start
Be a-
doing
Speaking of
ballet.
Yeah. Hey, we're learning some things. Foothold, how to get out of like ankle locks, and it's like point your toe like a ballerina.
Oh.
Ballet is actually pretty gnarly. Fernando does ballet. See his legs?
Look out.
Like he'd kill you.
Yeah, you don't want those like triangling you or something. It'll just pop your brain out. Golly gosh.
Oh dear.
So, Chrissie, the mana. Bring it back. Bring it back to the mana.
Bring the beat.
Yeah. So the future of the mana. So you've talked a little bit about that. Your plan for world domination. No, I'm joking. No,
With love.
with love.
Loving
with love.
domination.
Fuck you up.
Game on. But what do you think? Like, let's just say the mana, you know, in a vision, what we call a vision statement is like what the world looks like when you've achieved your purpose. You know, it's like for us, our purpose is around facilitating ectasis, which is when a lobster sheds its shell. So that together we realize our full potential. That's our purpose. But our vision, what that looks like, what the world looks like when we've achieved that, is planet Earth as a garden and work of art for all life. So it's all about collaboration and play and everyone having a contribution to tending the garden and creating. And, you know, we could probably go more in depth on that, and that's something that we definitely need to do. But when the mana has achieved its purpose, you know, what kind of world could we be living in? Have you thought much about this?
Oh, I just see really strong communities.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It's like everybody feels belonging. Everybody is a part of a tribe,
Yeah.
you know, and knows their place and feels like they know they feel solid in their ecosystem, do you know, their human ecosystem. I think that's probably the endpoint vision of restoring love in families. When our hearts come online, you know, when we release the upset and the trauma and our heart starts to really shine again, it naturally wants to connect to more people because that's what it's built for. So, you know, when we connect to more people and we start to search out community and tribe, then we've got, you know, this effect of having people, just really feel acknowledged. And I think that that's probably, well, from my experience in the work I do, it seems to be that that's one of the core upsets for most people is where they don't feel acknowledged, you know, spiritually, you know, like for who they are, what they bring, their beautiful hearts. They're not being seen. They're not being fully acknowledged. And that's something that naturally happens, I think, in sustainable or sane or mature communities and tribes, is that every being feels like they've got their place. It's their unique job, and everybody knows that, and you're acknowledged, and that is a very powerful thing indeed. So, I think that's probably the vision. Yeah, is that we're all in our little tribes and loving each other's tribes. Hey, over there, see you guys over there, you know, and everybody's like doing well.
I love that.
You know,
it's like tribes have been like a thing that I've always been like. So I grew up in like the graffiti world, and graffiti crews are very much like tribal things. Like you dress the same, you got the same style, you walk and talk the same, but like you got like a belief system. Everyone's got their own but then there's like there's this like dialogue between all the other crews and stuff. It's like super interesting. Like it's like almost like a primal kind of situation playing out.
Yeah,
it's part of our DNA.
Yeah,
it's
but that's
out.
it.
Yeah.
It's like this ability, like, and that's what's so like, what drew me to it so much was because it's like everybody. You can't just join. Like you can't just be placid in one or like not contribute to it being in the crew. You get kicked out, you know. It's the same with the tribe. If you're not contributing, you get the
you get the boot.
You get the boot, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
And there's like this which creates a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And self-worth
Yes.
and all these other positive things that come with it, because you're really adding to the strength of the community and adding to the strength of, you know, the people that you are like-minded with. And then even on like a more macro scale, it's like you're all in this sort of thing together doing that, and you can kind of like, there's like respect for one another in their own ways, where you're kind of like in this, you know, even though there might be some beef and shit going down.
Tag over someone's stuff.
Toy. But
That's right.
It is so primal, so instinctual, like, you know, to it's like being unique within a tribe, like where everyone belongs and you're all the same, but then it's like this paradox, the pendulum.
Here it comes.
Of being, it's like being unique in a as one. You know, it's like this like amazing thing. Like how do you belong but also be yourself?
I saw this really funny like meme the other day, and it was like two people like pointing at each other like, you know, you're different or you're this, the other, and it's like, you know, zooming out until it was like the planet Earth just floating in space. You know, it's like we're all actually there on the same planet, like as one collective, but because we're like, you know, it's just funny.
Futile.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're all of our hearts are actually yearning for, is that feeling of belonging, like real belonging, and being seen and acknowledged by each other. And you know, on like a little micro example of that, you know, through lockdown when we were all told to shut up and be in our homes, I was like, no way, no, you can all get fucked. And we were running our retreats. I mean, it was game on, and you know, we were in the bush, you know, creating these experiences of connection at a time when obviously we were all absolutely gagging for it. And people were driving, you know, up on the highways that we weren't allowed to drive on from
But traffic
Melbourne.
was great.
Traffic was great, right? From Melbourne, they're like gunning it up the highway, you know, and running into the bush and just like falling into the arms of people they'd never met before.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my God, people, human connection, togetherness. And we, you know, it's obviously not that dire now, but you know, it's still the same. Like it is still the same. Like people we're all, you know, really wanting to feel so understood. Do you know that like, you know, like even in relationship, you know, we gag for that to be really, really understood by our partners, where it's just, you know, we're sort of communicating via osmosis, you know, like we feel each other. Like that's available actually to all of us. Like I think you were saying earlier, you know, it doesn't take much. You know, you can walk into a group of people, and we see this at Mana all the time, where a bunch of people who are strangers who've never met, you know, come in, and within an hour or two, they're all being so vulnerable together and loving of each other and supporting of each other. It's like, look at that. Like it doesn't take long at all.
Straight up.
It really doesn't take, because we're built for it. We want it. We just need the guidance and the safe spaces.
The environment.
The environment, that's right. And that's what our job is at Mana, is to create these, to create safe spaces for the magic to occur. It's kind of not even, we're not even doing it. It's kind of like we just create the spaces. We've got some cool tools, but then the spirit of love, power, you know, the power of love and the power of a human, that's what creates the magic.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the field as well. Like you're creating the field with the team before everyone gets there. It's like, I spoke about this before, but it's like when we do our work, you know, we do co-design forums. It's like the team creates the field of resonance before the participants come in there. So it's like they're matching that. If you get a good crew that are able to hold that, then anyone that walks into that field is going to
That's it.
match, right?
That's it. That's what we're doing at the training at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, like we're working on how to create space.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Because we create our environment, and then our environment creates us. It's like it's a loop. Yeah. But on that note, where can people get in touch with you if they're interested in doing some of the work?
The best place is on our website. So that's themanamovement.org.
Yeah.
And on the website, we've got all our offerings, and we've just got heaps of buttons all over the place for you to book a discovery call, and those calls are with me. And that's a beautiful opportunity. We've got a lot of people that are sitting on the fence, you know, like following us on Insta, watching the stories every day, like really loving the vibe, but just sort of hanging back. And I say, lean in and just have a chat.
Yeah.
With me, you know.
I back that. Like I did it. Obviously, I did that, and I did Heart Speak twice. Actually, I did another round after the one I saw you at. I highly recommend it. Like if there's somebody out there that's kind of sitting on the fence to do the work, jump on it. You know, because it's going to change your life. It's going to give you some great tools, and it's going to help you restore love in your life with, you know, the people that are dearest to you. So.
Thanks.
Get on board.
Rex. Thanks, darling.
Yeah.
That's beautiful of you.
Yeah.
I second that.
I'd love to keep doing it, actually.
Yeah. Come along.
So, yeah.
Come along. It's new and improved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see it. So are you.
Yeah, I sure fucking am. I just went through hell. Feeling so much better now.
That's it. We just talked about this too, the hell in the hallway, you know, when one door closes, another one opens, but it's hell in the hallway.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. The challenges are they're there for us. The challenges are there for us to become bigger and better and phoenix-like and rise out of the ashes. Total golden opportunities. Those damn challenges. They're awesome.
Again and again, too. Just once you've risen, then you're back again, aren't you? Ready to go.
Next
level, whatever you're at.
Another level, another devil.
Next
Need the level boss. Let's go.
Another level, another devil.
Yeah, that's all right.
It is. But,
Yeah.
And what about social media and things like that? What's your...
Yeah, we're on Instagram as well. So on Instagram we are the.mana.movement. And that's it. Just on Instagram, on our website. And you can book a call and come along to one of our events, one of our humanity workshops or our retreats or something overseas. There's lots of different things to choose from. That's why a call is good. Yeah. But we love people. We love connecting to people. We love just watching people's hearts bloom and blossom. It's like, I don't think there's anything more fulfilling than watching that process before your very eyes. Like, it's just stunning. So
how big are these events, these gatherings?
Well, the workshops are, no more than 20 people, participants, and it depends on which retreat. But the weekenders, we'd have about 30 people in our team, which is about 10. And yeah, the retreats are all sort of different. Yeah.
Do you still play John Denver?
I don't play anything, darling. No, I play Elijah Ray. That's the other lot.
That was my lowest common denominator, was John Denver. Joking.
Oh, bless John.
No, I like it. I do like it, but
no, I don't play. I have my own playlists.
Okay, no worries. I just thought I'd ask.
Well, that's cool. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me. You guys are fun.
Sometimes.
We are called wordplay, so we try.
Sometimes,
it comes with the name, but sometimes,
sometimes it's words, and sometimes it's play.
The pendulum swings, doesn't it? Well, okay. Well, where do we find us, Rix?
Well, you can find us on.
If you don't know where we are right now, how do you find us? Like right here.
Well, you can find the podcast on Instagram at Design on Purpose, and you can find our studio at Wordplay Studio on Instagram. We're also on TikTok at Design on Purpose.
Yep. if you're listening to this and you have no visuals and you're like, damn, I want to see what these people look like,
We look great.
go on YouTube and check it out.
Trust
And we
us.
look great. Yeah,
Yeah, we
don't
look
look
fantastic.
just trust.
Fabuloso. Trust us.
Yeah, that's it. And at Rixlee, RIXLEE.
Yep, on Instagram, that's me.
At Tom Cat with triple T's on the Tom and the cat. Do you have a personal Insta?
Yeah, but it's private.
Oh, it's
Okay.
private. Oh, okay.
Oh, private.
Just for the
Hardcore.
the specials.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, yes. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Chrissie.
Thanks,
pleasure. So
Chrissie.
much fun, Tom. Thanks, Rix.
Thanks.
So fun.